What's up, everybody? Ooh, I'm actually going to look at my screen. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Good Times, Bad Friends. If you're listening to this right now, it means two things. First thing, we survived another year. And two, we're officially kicking off the year 2026. We're old. Instead of coming in here with new big year's resolutions that we're going to forget by January 9th, whenever you're listening to these, we wanted to do something different. Today's episode is pulling back the curtain. We're talking about what worked for this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, things worked for this podcast. And we're going to talk about what didn't work. The episodes we loved, the ideas we believe that flopped, and how far this thing has really come since the conspiracy campfire days. I will walk through numbers, not to brag. Numbers are pretty good, but to be transparent. And then we'll lay out what's changing this year and how you can be a part of it. So real quick, before we get started, if you've been enjoying the show, make sure you follow and subscribe wherever you're listening. Listen, that helps our podcast show get out to the people, and it's free. You know, new year, new you. You don't want to spend money? That's fine, baby. That's fine. Press follow and subscribe right now.
5-finger discount, baby.
Wherever you're listening, go ahead and follow and subscribe. And if this episode connects with you, which, you know, why would it? But here we are. Share it with a friend. That's genuinely how we get this thing growing. So whether you've been here since episode 1 or the episode 1 after we deleted all the really bad ones, you found the show. We're really glad you're here. Let's go.
Oh, lid. Colin Rutherford, 2026, the year of
clean intros.
GPT intros. Like, was that from the dome? Was that from the heart, the soul, or was it a little bit of Chat GPT?
I just felt like I felt myself leave my body and just start.
Well, welcome back. You killed it. Now that you're kind of back to reality a little bit. Now, we are 26 years away from the year 2000. Like, I love those stats where it's like we're closer to like 2050 than we are like the 1990s or 80s or something like that. But can you imagine that 26 years ago, it was the year 2000 and just how far along we are? Now, I just want to preface that by saying I might step on some toes. I'm sorry. I'm going to kind of pass it down to you guys after I talk about this, but I've kind of done a little bit of a 180 on these New Year's resolutions. Now, I did use ChatGPT today to look up the fact that, can you guess on the percentage of how many people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the end of January? Take a guess.
90%.
Pretty close. I think that was somewhere in the range. It was like 75 to either 85 or 90% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the end of the first month. And for all you scholars out there, first month of the year, by the way. So within 30 or 31 days.
ChatGPT pulled up still?
No, but I can right now. Do you want me to
see what the most common New Year's resolutions are?
Ooh, okay.
I got you.
What? Yeah. Alex,
Jamie.
Alex, look it up. Now, whenever we do this, I said we talk about this, and then Colin, how are you feeling about that? Like, for me, I'm more about developing a habit that's going to stick permanently than trying to hit the one-time jackpot, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this, or like we'll kind of get into a couple of those questions. Like, how do you feel about New Year's resolution when you were a kid versus when you were kind of a little bit younger of an adult versus now?
Well, I think when I was little, the New Year's resolutions was always like a big thing. Like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy.
Right?
I'm going to diet. I'm going to work out. But then after years of making New Year's resolutions and not keeping them as an adult, I'm like, what's the point? Like, I can lie to myself any day of the week. Don't have to be January 1st.
To be the first year, I lied to myself. Alex, what you got for us? What's the answer? Because I'm actually very curious about what the most common is. It's got to be something to do with diet, right? And exercise.
So I went categories. I asked him to give me the top 3 New Year's resolution categories.
Thanks a lot.
Take y'all's guess. What is y'all's guess? Top 3 categories.
Ooh. It's got to be diet, exercise, and
spirituality.
Yeah. I'm gonna group me and Colin's answers together because that's pretty solid, and we're pretty high IQ together. We're at least triple digits together. Yeah.
Okay, y'all got 1 and 3. So number 1 is health and fitness. I think always number 1.
So diet's not on there.
That's under health and fitness. So
got you.
Exercise, eat healthier, lose weight, sleep better, all that.
Got you.
Number 2 is a huge one: money and finances. That's what a lot of people at my work.
I want to spend better after they just spent, like for me, an egregious amount of really stupid things. But watching my kid drive around on that little bike and then walking over to his baseball bat, and then inevitably we're going to throw 60% of this stuff away within the month. So maybe I'm just feeding into the stereotype or whatever. But like watching my kid run around with stuff that he's going to enjoy for maybe a month or two.
What was number 3?
I think that makes it
Number 3, personal growth and mental health. Which I feel like y'all like relationship kind of.
Boring, right? Just live life, baby. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time. Somebody sang
Yeah.
about that. But okay, so
YOLO.
like sticking on that fact, one of the things we were kind of kicking around is what is one what is one unrealistic New Year's resolution that you made that you're like, what am I doing? Like, I don't have the resources for this.
Well, don't stop listening, people. But I made a New Year's resolution for this podcast, and I'm not going to tell you quite what it is yet. But
Yep.
during our Friendsgiving, Justin was there, and I had a whole binder of my plans
Dude.
for the podcast this year.
This guy, we're sitting around completely casual. We got some of our, high school buddies or whatever. We have some that which kind of I'm gonna talk about something that we try to plan with all that. But that's actually something that we do consistently every single year, 4 or 5 years now. This dude walks out with a binder like Jeffrey Epstein style, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" And I'm like, "Going just
You
sitting
got a
around
minute?"
hanging out." Yeah, he's like, "You got a minute?" Starts flipping through like the entire. It's not like, "Hey, here's what we should do for the next 3 or 4 podcasts. Here's what we're gonna do for the entire year in a binder." And
And there were
like,
some pictures,
"Oh, it was awesome, dude." There was like graphs, like me. I'm a
Goals,
visual guy. Yeah,
milestones. Yeah.
yeah. For me, reading on like a 4th grade level, like I need like a coloring book laid out, big pictures, huge font. Like, so I need to be able to flip those pages quick. So Colin was extremely prepared on that front for sure.
But that's not going to fail.
Yeah.
No,
Not unrealistic at all. We're gonna
yeah.
be here.
Like
Sorry,
for
I
me,
misread the question. I just wanted to brag.
yeah. I just want
I
to
care
kind of
too
flip it on and
much.
say, yeah. I just wanted to kind of give us another shout out. I will tell you that I think it was my either 2nd or 3rd year of college. I'm walking around and I'm living in like an American Pie movie or anything like that. People are sitting in the courtyard playing the guitar and everything, and me having zero money, I'm barely passing my classes, and all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? I could play the guitar. I could learn how to play the guitar with zero resources to afford a guitar, zero access to a guitar at the moment to even get started. And more importantly, here's the fun part. I didn't know a single person within a 80,000 mile radius of myself that I knew of that could even play the guitar. So that lasted, I don't know, until I walked back to the dorm room and I checked my bank account. I'm like, what guitar can I get for $2.35 after I eat my dinner with the $2.35 that I have? So that was one that I had, and that was by far the quickest one because the dream lasted, I don't know, across the quad. And then by the time I, went a half a mile and I was sweating my butt off, I kind of sweated some sense into my mind, and I'm like, okay, I'll just stick with, trying not to be poor for the next 5 years. Just totally worked out for sure.
That's good.
Alex, you got anything fun?
If only you could have sweat some sense into your bank account, you might have been okay.
Since I see what you did.
Very nice.
It's a little sweat equity, you know what I'm saying?
No,
No, I was still broke, but anyway.
I often fall
Sweat.
into that first category. I always have aspirations and dreams of working out, and it's been like probably 10 years since I worked out consistently. I'm going to try it again this year. I signed up for a gym membership, so I'm putting it out there into the universe.
Come
But
on.
I'm
A little
gonna start
accountability
working out.
because now it's on here and people are going to listen to it and they will never let it go.
And they will check in from all 7 countries. The limiting resource is time, though. I really don't know when I'm going to go to the gym,
Yeah.
but I'm paying for it, so it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's
Once
what I'm
you
telling
put
myself.
down some consistent money on something, it's like, okay, I think I can find some time for it.
Yeah.
And then you forget all about it and you've paid like $400 and you've only went there like 2 or 3
Yeah.
times. And because that's what people bank on. Like that's the methodology behind trying to get you to sign up for like some type of subscription based payment method
Right.
where you kind of forget about it. And it's
Keep
like,
paying.
okay, I'll go the next time or I'll miss one. And that turns into 2 and 3. And then all of a sudden you've paid all this money and they're like, yeah, what a dummy. And then people in 7 countries are like, yeah, that Alex guy is a real idiot. So flipping, I guess for us, like eventually we're going to pivot back to the podcast and everything and just kind of talking about. So like when you get to the new year and you do want to make those changes, I wouldn't say necessarily like a resolution because once again, I think it's so annoying when people say that. It's like just build good habits. But like, why do you think we put that pressure on ourselves at the beginning of the year? Is it just that hopeful optimism at the beginning of the year because it is a new year? You have all this time ahead of you. Like, is that kind of like is that more of a motivating thing, or do you feel pressure, like whether it's the podcast or trying to work out or like a personal or professional goal for you guys?
Personally, I don't like resolutions, so I don't really make New Year's resolutions. But I think part of why they're so popular is because people feel like crap after the holidays. They like treat themselves like
doubt.
crap from
Mhm.
November
Me
through
included,
December,
man.
eating bad, sitting around, not really walking or moving around much. And so you're like, well, I got to do something to feel better. I'm going to, stop eating out. I'm going to save money. I'm going to walk a little bit, work out. So I feel like there's almost just like a natural timing of like, I just treated my body like crap for 6 weeks. New Year's is coming around, that's like a time to reset and get myself right. And then you get to November the next year and you treat yourself like crap again. So
Yeah, and then you're like,
you're
"I no, no,
stuck
no,
in
I
the
got
cycle.
next year, 2027, I'm about to
Yeah.
reset and
That's my
lock in,
year.
baby." That's
Yeah.
my year.
Well, I think
Colin, what
people
about
just
you?
like, I think people in, like, we don't realize how good we have it in America. And some people just like
100%.
genuinely don't like their life. And they
Yes.
see New Year's as like a fresh start. And I don't know why, because like it's all a man made calendar anyway. Nothing separates New Year's from yesterday. But I think people are like, ooh, fresh start. I have a starting point. Like, that's why people start. I'm going to read the Bible in 365 days starting January
Mhm.
1st. You can start any day, but this is like a good, solid, I can look back, know how many days, whatever. I think it's more pressure, though. I think that is harder because if you start January 1st and you give up on the 14th, it's like, man, I I made it 2 weeks out of
Yeah.
the 52 that I set this goal for.
Yeah.
I don't think it's motivating at all. And I think that's why they're silly because we
Well
fail and we fail and we do it to ourselves every year. And I don't know why because I know it never works.
Well, I just think it's unnecessary because if you're going to chase something or try to achieve something of value, it's going to be difficult at some point. You have to choose when that's going to be. But at the end of the day, like, why not just win the next decision? Because if you expect to win for
Mm,
365 days a year, it's never going to happen. Why don't you just try to win the next thought? And if you don't, how can I make sure that I don't lose a second, third, fourth thought that turns into an action, that turns into a habit, and then inevitably turns into your character and who you are? So it's like, for me, I think it I think you're right. I think it puts a lot of pressure because as soon as we look at like the big picture, I think we freak out. Like 365 days, that's a lot. Like, that's a lot of failure. And then you compound it too fast instead of, okay, like right now, how can I focus on the next thing I'm about to do? And then if I win that and I create a little bit of momentum, now I look up and I've had a good day. I've had a great moment and I've stacked more great moments than bad moments. Because I mean, bad moments are going to happen. I think a lot of people get on this huge high horse, and one, I think like you said, we don't appreciate how good we have it, and the fact that we have the freedom to make these kind of mistakes. Like, I can go spend some money and I'm okay with that, or I can eat some bad food because I have access to any kind of food that I want to kind of put that I want to put in my body. I think people take advantage of that and they don't understand that you're going to fail when you're chasing something of value. So
mhm.
when you fail, how can you just fail less than you do succeed, or make that great decision or that great thought that turns into an action or a habit? So I think people try to excommunicate failure like it's not going to happen, but in all reality, it's inevitable. So how you handle failure, that's how you lead into being successful in
And
creating those habits. And
yeah,
and,
I
and I think that's
think,
where people get it's like they want to run through the finish line like Rocky, but that's not how you get to those moments of being great. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And I think like the beginning of the year is a good opportunity. One, it's just fun to make resolutions. But two, like you said, all the negative stuff that like people like negativity spreads so much faster than positivity. Like if you're thinking back about your year,
100%.
you're going to remember all the things that went wrong and have to search for the things that you think went
Mhm,
right. And that's just like human instinct. But
mhm.
one thing that we have the privilege of is we can look back on the episodes that we had this year and just see the growth that we had from where we started the podcast. And if you look at like the guests we brought on this past year, which we'll get into, it's crazy.
Yep.
Like, who would have thought they would be interested in coming on? I mean, obviously they're interested. Have you listened to us?
Oh,
Like and
yeah.
subscribe.
Now people are fighting it like crazy.
Like, think you can pull up Spotify. I'll edit this out or whatever. Like, look through the episodes and give me, ooh, let's do this. One of your favorite guests that we had, and one
Yep.
that you forgot that we did.
Yeah. So
But if we forgot you,
I'll
it's fun. Don't be
yeah.
mad at us.
If you are the forgotten guest and you feel like you should be on that top 2, just go ahead and send us a comment. And then, like,
Come
what we're
back.
going to lead into is we're going to try to engage with people a little bit more and give them an opportunity to be heard, be on the podcast, talk about a clip or anything like that. Because I think we can have more of these moments to where we may have some shorter episodes by ourselves, but we'll talk about some stuff that maybe you guys or ideas that you guys throw out there. But anyway, that's kind of what I did, like taking a little stroll down memory lane. And then we had done this a couple times where we look back and we were kind of giving updates on how we felt and what we were doing and kind of some recaps and everything. But you always got to start with the OG first episode with Mackenzie because the other 12 or 13 or 14 or however many did not exist before that. Obviously, like Colin was saying earlier, we didn't delete them. They just happened to get lost in those. But anyway, like and subscribe for the ones that we have right now. But if you go back, I think where we officially started, I think that's where we kind of hit our stride and it just got so fun. Like when you go down, I think I was looking at the ones I wanted to put about the ones that kind of caught me off guard that I guess I didn't necessarily forget about, but then you go back and listen, like the near death experience one absolutely rocked my world. Like
Yeah, it's
that
good.
shook me for like 2 weeks because I found this sketchy, like Craigslist setup website or whatever that looked like it was made in the basement by like my 3-year-old son or whatever. And then all of a sudden you go through and there's like thousands of stories from all over the world and
So
they're the
good.
exact same. And we start talking about this and I start freaking myself out, dude. And then we start tying it to like these CIA programs and everything. And I'm like, all right, we got to stop. Like, I can't handle this. I got to go teach how to run a slant tomorrow. And I can't be just leading into Area 51 straight after that. But I was very surprised about that. And then all the drafts we did, like when we did the undraftables draft, like that kind of segues into like, if you guys want to cover that a little bit later, but like if you were to go back and listen to some of our older episodes, like if you just want to kind of get a feel of like when we were really having fun before we kind of got set and a little bit more of like a permanent structure that we want to do with the podcast, go listen to the drafts, man. The World War III draft, the undraftables draft, like just all those times where we are just laughing our butts off because we're just talking about the dumbest stuff that we can possibly do. And like there's some stuff where we were trying to catch our footing a little bit with like the worst small business ideas and the State of the Union speeches that we did twice. It's just like, I don't know, dude, it's fun. Like you don't realize how many episodes we've done until you scroll all the way to the bottom and you start working your way back up. And then we'll get in some other ones that obviously didn't do as well. But then one of my favorite moments that you guys would probably never be able to guess was all of a sudden in the middle of the episode that we were doing about, or actually it was right before the missing fighter jet, which how do we lose a $60 billion machine, by the way, that was just flying through the air, unmanned and absolutely untracked, which blows my mind. You guys remember that story? How it just disappeared because that's not a big deal, I guess. Anyway, was the blue moon. Remember when the moon was allegedly blue and we were freaking out? And we took a slight pause and you cut back in and Colin goes, that's like, we were in such a good discussion. All of a sudden Colin was like, this can't be real. And then it cuts back into it and Colin goes, that was the stupidest thing I've ever, like, NASA is the dumbest organization I've ever heard in my entire life. I'm like, yeah, that's why nobody respects those guys. They just lied about the simplest. It's the moon. Can we not objectively just walk out and say, well, that's not blue. I'm not an idiot. And so that it just like, I don't know, you just take a stroll down memory lane. You start remembering those little things about like little intricacies of each episode. And like that was kind of my big thing right there. But man, there was just some good stuff.
One that I forgot about that's a ton of fun. This was back in July of 24 was the In Murder Mystery one. Hers was a ton of fun, just learning about the history of like East Texas and her, relationship with her dad and how she learned so much about like the justice system and different criminal cases and how she's going back and revisiting all those. One that I kind of forgot about, but at the time I think was absolutely wild to us was the fact that Nevin Shapiro agreed to come on to our podcast.
But like
that was just
like 10 minutes into it, he was like, oh, hey, Nevin's over here just eating chicken wings. Like you want him to hop on? And I'm like, wait, Nevin Shapiro's at your house? Like I knew there was a chance for him to come by, but he just happened to be there too. And he's like, yeah, hang on, he'll hop on or whatever.
In case someone missed it, explain who Nevin Shapiro is.
So Nevin Shapiro is the most famous, and it's so hilarious now what NIL's turned into. But like you think of the big cases where schools got in trouble for basically paying players when they weren't supposed to. You think of SMU, and you think of the University of Miami in the late 80s, early 90s. And then leading up into the early 2000s and specifically the 2001 Miami team that was probably the best college football team ever assembled. And we start looking through like Clinton Portis was like the 8th string running back and that dude's in the Hall of Fame. But anyway, he was a famous Miami booster that ultimately got in trouble for, giving a little extra money on the table. And therefore he got to stand right by the tunnel as a normal fan and spray the dudes as they're coming out with the fire extinguisher because he was writing a pretty big check to some of the players. So now when you look at it, it's hilarious because I bet he was giving a fraction of like what that Texas Tech quarterback got, by the way. He was getting lifetime royalties for a company, which is completely off the rails. But anyway, I feel like he would laugh, but he was one of the OG guys that kind of blurred the lines between what the boosters can give and all that kind of stuff. So for him to hop on the podcast at that point, like we got Andy, which was he's a good dude. Like he was a big deal. But then all of a sudden he was like, hey, not only do I have a buddy that wants to hop on, but it's someone that you can go to Netflix and type in the U and the U part 2. Oh, and by the way, he's like one of the main characters in the things you can watch on Netflix worldwide. And so that was, like you said, when he hopped on there, I was like, hey, Nevin Shapiro. This
all
is
the notes that we had just went through.
It's like, so how do you feel about the fighter jet going missing? Am I right? That's good, man.
So I was going to say Nevin Shapiro was just a huge get for our podcast. The guy from Meat Eater, dude, huge get for our podcast.
I didn't even know that. Y'all started talking about that, and I was like, wait, like the meat eater
Yeah.
show? And Colin was like, yes. And I'm like,
Buck truck.
oh my gosh, dude. And so, and like, we didn't spend that much time on it. And I'm like, dude, how dumb am I? Like, why did we not talk about that? I don't know, the whole time.
Right.
People we have
And
on like legit TV shows.
He was there. Miles Spencer, random guy, emailed us that was just like wrote a book
Yeah.
of his time and
Yeah, dude,
overseas.
we thought we were getting catfish so bad. Like, you were like, yeah, this isn't real. This guy's like an overseas. He's like riding camels over in the thing, like
Yeah.
writing a book about
Yeah.
the I was like,
He was like, let
okay,
me go
yeah,
grab
The
this
original
camel
Shark
saddle.
Tank.
that's still my favorite clip, like all time by far, because all of a sudden he's like, yep, here it is. And if you have no context, it's even funnier because you're like, that's weird. Like, is that like a dog bed, like a used dog bed or something like that?
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it's talking about how a camel saddle he rode 2,000 miles through like the Arabian Mountains or whatever. I don't know. I failed geography class, so I don't really know.
And then we had Jackson Shipley.
Yeah.
dude, big time.
And that I thought it was just gonna be a Longhorn legend, but that went Jesus, that went hunting, that went
That was
everything.
awesome.
That was a great episode. And then of course, the one who dethroned your sister-in-law as our top episode ever.
Yeah. That's why I had to give her a shout out at the beginning.
Mark Kissinger
because-
came on the podcast and blew people away. And just talk about like makes our job easier when you have a great storyteller come on the freaking
100%.
podcast and just be like, all right, I'm muting my mic. You have an hour.
Let it roll.
Get us some followers, brother.
No doubt.
You just run it.
No doubt.
One of the forgotten ones I had, dude. I was gonna say, my goodness, the State of the Union ones.
Yeah,
In-
dude.
in my head,
so
I had
funny.
like patriotic music playing, and we were gonna be like brothers and sisters. And I was
Yeah. Dude, we wrote those speeches and they were so corny and so it just like it was like in the moment doing it was hilarious, but when you go back and watch it, like it's almost like what are we doing? It's like
But-
it was fun, don't get me wrong, but
we had some crazy cool, like we've had 3 or 4 authors on this year, like wrote
Yeah.
books
big
and
people, dude.
sent me signed like I have signed copies of every book that
That's
we've got.
awesome.
Sorry guys. We've had like
I kept those.
Yeah,
the
I-
personal
Sorry, that's kind of
library.
just a me thing because
Those,
Colin does
uh,
pretty much everything for the podcast.
we had preachers come on, we had authors come
Yeah.
on, we had people on TV and documentaries, and I'm just like, dude, people listen to us. Like I have people be like, you have a podcast, and at first I was like, nah, dude, like it's
totally
something silly we do, and now I'm like,
working on a little bit.
yeah, dude,
I'm
like-
bragging about it all over the place, man. Okay, so Colin, if Steve Jobs shows up, RP, am I right? That was probably a bad example.
That'd
Anyway,
be really
That's
bad.
weird as hell.
Steve Jobs just flies in like Scooby Doo, yoinks. Big time investor shows up. He goes, listen, I can only listen to one episode of your podcast, and that's going to determine whether I give you a $1 billion investment or you get a big fat zero. What episode are you telling him
That's
to
a
watch
good
right
question.
now? All the
That's-
marbles.
Oof, no pressure.
That's a tough one. I honestly think I haven't listened to it in so long, but either is coaching worth it?
Dude, I was thinking the same one. Anyway, yes.
Okay, no, that is coaching worth it. That's a
Sold.
great episode, and it was before we like got serious with like our guest series and everything. That was just a diamond in the rough that hit.
Yeah.
Because so many people are interested in coaching. So we brought in all these coaches and we did all of this stuff to try to like capitalize that market. But I think that was the best one we did because we were genuinely passionate about what we were talking about.
Yes, that's the only reason that I would pick that almost head and shoulders above everybody else because we brought in so many good guests and like kind of let the conversation go to what they were interested in, and then it was kind of interesting to us. But I think you can like that's probably the most response I got from other people. Obviously, I have a lot of friends in the coaching world, so they were like, "Wow, you guys hit the nail on the head pretty much in every single point that you brought up." But that was the one that kind of resonated with the most people, even if they weren't in the coaching profession. They were like, you guys just sounded like you were so convicted by what you were saying. It's not like we were trashing on it the whole time, but I think when you're able to ask those genuine questions to each other and you're able to kind of challenge each other in a good way, I think it turns into the best conversation you can have. Breaking news, Good Times, Bad Friends got $1 billion investment. But unfortunately, it's in Iranian dollars, so that only equates to like $3 US right now.
Yeah,
so
and a
it's-
camel.
they're in a pretty tough spot.
All right.
That'll though.
Before we move on, I want to ask both of you which episode that when we got our guest or our topic, did you think we would crush that? Like would break every episode record we had?
Dude, I'm just, and we'll probably talk about this later and I'll bring this up. But it's not necessarily the guest one, But it's the whole reason we started the podcast. It was the conspiracy campfire, man.
Dude.
Like I freaking pee, but I can't let it go. Like, like those people you're like, man, why can't that dude just get over that event or that person or whatever? Or like, it's just like, man, grow up. And I'm like, well, yeah, but we didn't really land on the moon.
think
And
we went
nobody
to the
really wants
moon?
to, yeah, nobody wants to hear us out. And I'm like, dang it. It's the only thing we wanted to do because we can't talk about it in our profession because the kids are like, oh, you're weird. I'm like, shut up. We didn't go to the moon. Don't believe everything. You think they're just bat 1,000 with this? But like, I just
That
wanted
building
it.
fell by
I
itself.
wanted it to hit. I wanted it to hit so bad.
Mhm.
And it did. And it just like, and that's what's so funny about doing this. It's like, you think you want to go a certain direction. Like we were like, this is all we're ever going to talk about. And it's going to be fun. And then it's just like, wah, wah, wah. And then it's like, yeah, you better change quick or you guys aren't going to have a podcast for very long. So like, not only did it not work, but it was just the most disgusting flop that I think any podcast has ever had. I was just so disappointed, man. I don't know. I can't let that go for some reason.
That definitely has to come back in. We got to get some like conspiracy authors or something to. I need to hear about these Nephilim. There's more.
We have people that are interested. If you could get a round table with like,
oh yeah,
Coach talking about the Nephilim, if you can get Chris in here to start poking people about the fake website that he created, and we thought he was 100% serious about that, and then he ended up being a huge joke. Like if you can get a round table of all those people and actually get a conversation started, I feel like that's where he messed up. Like you can't jump to 20 different things because that's how it gets watered down. That's why the term conspiracy theory was created to kind of water down those people that had legitimate questions about what was going on. I'm not going to get too deep in it, don't worry. But I feel like if you could get like a legitimate roundtable and just say, okay, we're going to stick to these 3 things. Let's go slow. Let's maybe not start with the Nephilim. Let's start with some softball stuff where you have everybody saying, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And then they start listening in like 3 minutes. But I just think that can make a comeback. I have faith. I'm not going to lie to you. I have blind faith in the conspiracy theories, man.
I do
don't know
too.
why. Just absolute blind faith. Like almost like
we just didn't
suicidal
have a
empathy that
plan.
we can 100%. I think we did, but the plan was just like, we wanted it so bad that we tried to
Aliens,
fit
pyramids,
everything.
moon landing.
Yeah. I think we just tried. I think we just opened up the fire hose instead of just letting it kind of like dribble out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Ayo. But yeah, I just
Before we move on, Justin. Oh no, this is part of the
Yes.
next segment. Okay.
Okay, talk to me.
Okay. Let's talk about something that flopped. And
No,
Alex,
I know.
I want you to hear this story from Justin's point of view. Talk about our live in-person episode at the coffee shop.
Dude, what's so funny is I was going to ask an on-the-spot question, which I was still going to do. And honestly, I was not going to bring that up. I was going to let that die so silently in our friend group, and I was not going to say a single word about it. But, God, we posted about it on social media. Big things coming in person, good times, bad friends. Even though we've never done anything live and in person, we haven't really figured it out. We're going to make it work.
We're going to do it at midnight.
We show up. Oh my gosh. We show up.
at mid.
So this is something, and I can kind of tease it a little bit because I think it's something that's going to stay consistently. We're going to do our in-person podcast at our only sponsor that we get for absolutely free and nothing in return that we give to it. Sun and Moon Coffee in Temple. Please stop by and support us. But we do it at the coffee shop, which is really cool and lead into the new gear and everything like that. Like I think we'll be ready. But boy, were we so far from ready for what it took to set up for. So we get there. 3 hours later, we start the podcast, Alex.
Correct.
The guest
Dude,
is there like at the same time, waiting for 3 hours.
Oh,
Before
they
you
were
answer
there
that question,
early,
tell them
brother.
how I found out about multiple guests.
Multiple.
So in the process, like I get so fearful that I have one person and then all of a sudden they're going to back out. Like that's happened to a couple of people before, am I right?
This week.
Alex, am I right? Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's the whole reason
Justin,
that we're here is
am I
'cause I flopped a couple of times, am I right? But anyway, so I had one person, and I don't want to give too much information because there's a chance that we may have to redo this
They'll be
again for the
back.
first time. Yeah, we're doing it for the first time, all right? I had one person booked, and all of a sudden the other person was like, I had asked them, but they were kind of shaky on the response. Well, it ended up, they didn't think they were going to be in town, like in the area at all. And all of a sudden they were not only going to be back, but they were going to be back early. And I was like, huh. So, and I felt bad because I really wanted to have this person on before the other person, but I got the other person instead of person A. Follow me here. And so what I ended up doing is I just folded and said yes to both of them and didn't tell Colin that because Colin is not someone that likes to be organized or structured or planned or anything like that. So I thought it would just be best case scenario to tell him 4 hours before for the podcast that we didn't really know how it was going to go in the first place anyway, not have enough mics hook up and anything like that. So I ended up getting us in a heap of trouble But thank goodness Colin had a plan even after that. But long story short, I agreed to not only have one guest, but two guests on the in-person podcast that we were not set up for. We were not equipped for. We started it, didn't mute our volume, didn't set our mics up right. I screwed the camera up so you get a really good close-up of my forehead the entire time.
Yeah.
But you can't see one of the other guests, even though they're talking the majority of the time. So that was the definition of how you flop so badly on a podcast and what exactly you don't want to do. I do have a couple outside of that. So now that I got that off my chest, and we'll kind of reconvene and come back to that for what our plan is moving forward. Do you want to hear some that I wrote down that were actually some flops that I totally forgot about? Let's see if these are on your radar.
I thought you'd never.
So
ask.
the very first one I have is it's so funny because we do Friendsgiving, the Friendship Fiesta. How fun was that? That it was just me and you that planned it. Didn't really ask everybody in our friend group that we were going to do it. And we were going to invite Alex basically without telling him. So didn't have a plan. Didn't have everybody on the podcast that was going to be a part of it. Nobody had agreed to it yet. And we came up with every single event live on the podcast.
Yeah,
and
this
then-
was like a
and
mini
named it.
Olympics, Alex, that we
Yes.
planned.
I
And we
remember
had
y'all
it all
talking
set
about
up
this.
without asking the entire group, by the way, without having the consent of everybody that was going to be in the group that was going to be doing it, and named it at the buzzer of that podcast. So that was my first one. That as soon as I read the title, I was like, oh yeah, we planned that whole thing on a podcast, and everybody listening, they're like, oh, I can't wait for that. And we were just like, yeah, that died really quick. So man, we're just on a roll. But to me, I feel like you have to be transparent because all these people think that you're just going to roll in and be Joe Rogan, which is kind of that. I think that was our biggest weakness. I think we had a little bit too much of an ego as far as when we were going to start that, because there is an art to it, which we can kind of expand on later. But the Friendship Fiesta, that was hilarious because I'm sure a lot of people were like, man, I wonder what and I'm just like, don't listen to that one. We'd be missing out on that $1 billion
Dude, we were
investment
gonna film
real
everything
quick.
live and make it like a
Yeah.
video.
Yeah.
I was
We were
going
going to
like Chris
videotape
Berman.
everything. And then that was what we were going to do our first in-person podcast to do. And by the way, the second Friendsgiving that we did, we brought our podcast equipment, just me and Colin.
All of it.
And we were going to set up for like 6 people to be on a podcast. Like, what were we doing? And then everybody else was like, yeah, we hate doing that. Me and Colin were like, okay, so you guys don't want to do it?
Yep. We
So
left it
that-
all in our trunk.
We
So-
did. We didn't even pull it out of our bags or our cars or anything like that. So anyway, huge flop right there, but that was hilarious. The second one, which you guys probably totally forgot about, and I don't even know, Alex, you may not even looked at this one. We had been hockey fans for what, 4 hours?
Days.
Like maybe a day. And then we tried to explain the entire sport. Same thing with the Conspiracy Campfire. We're going to explain the entire history and rule book of the game of hockey.
We named
And-
it Hockey 101.
And then who we
Why?
didn't let talk was Dalton, who was the resident expert who had only been a fan for like 3 years. It's like, what are we doing? It's like, hey, now on Good Times, Bad Friends, we're going to show you how to do open heart surgery. He's just like, what are
You're
we
a doctor,
doing?
but we'll take it from here.
Yeah, don't worry, doc. Sit down. We got this. I've watched Grey's Anatomy. I know you can use 50 cc's of whatever it is. So anyway, yeah, we tried to terribly, by the way, once again, bounced all over the place. Didn't focus on our favorite team, background, anything like that. Tried to explain the rules. So I'm sure anybody at like the Spit and Chicklet guys are probably like, these hounds. But anyway, so that was pretty fun. We tried to get into the segment business. So we started the Coach's Corner, which is funny because the segment flopped, but then we did Is Coaching Worth It? And that was like one of the best episodes that we've ever done. So
Mhm.
kind of glad that we kind of fell on our face right there, but it's kind of funny to look back. And then Conspiracy Campfire. All right, I'm done. That was the only one I wanted to bring back up. Still so freaking salty about that, man.
I wish that really would have stuck. And I'm not convinced that it hasn't stuck. We just haven't tried hard enough.
Listen, welcome back to
Podcast
Good
is
Times,
still
Bad
moving.
Friends. Conspiracy Campfire. We had you set up the whole time. Now, did you guys have anything different? Like any surprises that you found? You're like, oh man, that was terrible. Besides the first 13 episodes that we deleted from the
Dude,
garage.
I wish we did. I wish I had them somewhere.
Me too. Like, surely we could
They're
probably
just
find
gone
some
like
of them, huh?
forever.
They're gone forever.
Gone
Dang.
Aaron
I thought it
Hernandez.
was like an archive or something.
Thank goodness. What do y'all got? Anything that kind of snuck up on y'all? You're like, oh yeah, that was a terrible waste of time. Not gonna get that time back.
Well, there's one that never made it out that I thought in person was a lot of fun, and that was the one that the three of us did in person.
We
which
did,
felt like
and
a
then
lot of fun.
we waited so long. I think we were talking about like some current events or whatever. And then by that time, it was like a month or two out or whatever. But you're right. Like I guess the first in-person podcast that we did was a success.
Maybe.
But then the first one
Was
that
at
we
the
were trying to get
Dove.
it, like Yeah. It was at the it
Dude,
was at
amazing
it was at the
setup.
Dub,
Like
like
we had that little
it
corner
was like it was
booth
solid
and
setup. We had like the one computer, one mic, like right in the middle. And I guess maybe that's when we kind of started getting our own mics and we were kind of upgrading like the equipment or everything. So maybe we were just a little gun shy on that one. But you're
Yeah.
right. I guess that
We
technically
were
was the
talking
first
about
one.
like the NCAA football game dropping
oh,
this week, and
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
edit it
that's
till
true.
6 months
That's
later.
true. You're like, I don't think people are going to listen to this and be like, wait, wasn't it like
We
a
had
Listen,
year
it was
people
my
like
ago?
first
send
year
you
as a
like
head
Whatever.
coach. I didn't know what to do. I was
Yeah.
panicking.
Yeah, that was fun. And then
Yeah.
one that
Dang. Forgot about that.
not necessarily the content of the podcast being a flop, but when I got the guest on, it was a Grammy nominated like educator, and in my head I was like, oh, this is going to be huge. Like that to me just sounds so cool. And he's also someone who's very like popular, at least from my perspective. And then when the
Mhm.
numbers came back, there was like not a lot of
Bad,
views, and I
man.
was
But
like,
like,
dang,
but
I don't
like the
know
episode
what
itself was
missed.
so good. Like he had so many good stuff. Like everything he did was just like so interesting.
Yeah, he
Every
like
story
knows
he told
Mike
you, like, wow,
Evans.
it's like the
There's
coolest
all
thing
these
ever.
random things.
Yeah, it's like you just happen to grow up with like Mike Evans and Beyonce. I'm like, well, that's a coinky dink right there. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. I guess
Such a
that
cool
one
guess, but it
flopped.
didn't hit like I thought it was going to. I thought that was going to be a big one.
Oh,
Yeah.
but Colin, I'll springboard us, all right. Listen, there's some flops, there's some bad. LeBron knows all about flops, am I right? But hey, when we
41.
start talking about the good, you can highlight a little bit of the bad. But hey, how about we bounce into some of the big things that were happening in this podcast that I did not see coming, my man? My
Yeah.
numbers guy, take it
Dude.
over for us.
So let's talk about 2025. If you want to hear about 2024, it was a great year.
it was
Our biggest
like,
year of podcast
honestly,
history.
like when we went over 2024, like some of those numbers, I was like, wow, 28 people. It's the number one podcast. But like 2025, man, it blew it out of the freaking water.
Dude. So these are some base stats, and then I'll let you take it. 2025, our audience grew by 163%.
Dude, what? But wild. That's
Wild.
that's so many people.
Wow.
Wild. We had, as like new audience members, the number doesn't exist. It gave us 999% new
Dude,
audience
I read
growth.
that one and I was like, did you type that in right? Like, are you beefing up the numbers a little bit? Like, sure you didn't run like Rogan's numbers or something?
then
I was
we-
like, dude, when I read that one, that was unreal.
52% of our followers came from this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is huge, man. Like that is not only a giant spot. Now, I think us getting on social media was pretty big. I think we settled into what we wanted to do. I think we settled into something that we were comfortable with, that we wanted to talk about, that we were passionate about. If it led to like a solo episode or something we didn't want to do with like a guest series or anything like that, like I think we just did a good job of, and it was always like that delicate balance. Like when you start a podcast, if you're going to give advice to someone, like you are just having a conversation with your friends, but you're also entertaining people that do enjoy hearing you talk. So it can't be like an empty conversation, or you can't talk about too much. Like there's got to be a flow. There's got to be something that you follow. There's got to be a little bit of structure. But like for me, I want to get y'all's opinion. Like when you see those numbers, it almost feels like, are you sure? Are you sure that many people want to listen to everything that we have to say? But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of fun. Like I want to entertain those people that listen to our podcast. Like I want people to get to know maybe even things they don't know about me, where they see me in certain environments. Like people only see me at the high school, people only see me at the coffee shop, or they've only met me a couple of times. And then you see us in this more comfortable setting to where we're almost trying to keep you entertained, like you're part of like a reality TV show or
We
something. But, like,
we were the top #1 Spotify show for 84 people.
yeah,
Wow.
that's nuts. That's 4 times what it was, because before that was 28. So it's like you're
Mhm.
growing so much. And then I was looking at our audience, it was like 132% in 2 years or something like that. Like it just like the amount of people that, and now Colin, you and I, not that it's skewed, but like a couple high school kids hear about that, and obviously they're going to listen to it or whatever. And like with the profession that we're in, but just the amount of people in general that were replying and looking, like whenever I post a story about the podcast on my Instagram, like it blows up, and I share a page and all that kind of stuff. So I just feel like we've done a good job of like doing it the right way, because it's something that we enjoy doing, and the way we're doing it is something that we enjoy too. So I think that's probably made an impression on a lot of people. And then obviously too, like our social media presence is really beefed up and sharing that and everything too. And then the people you have on, if they share stuff too, that obviously helps. And if you have people on that are a lot more popular than we are, like Jackson Shipley, it's a huge name. Like Mark Kissinger has the entire town of Salina behind him, and probably the entire county, because he's he's made contacts over 30, 40 years where we've only been doing this for, 2 or 3 years at the same time. So it's like, I don't know, like what was y'all's initial reaction when you read those numbers? Because we shared those a while back and I knew that we wanted to kind of get some clips and talk about this or whatever and give an overview. But like, what was your initial reaction when you saw those numbers? Especially you, Colin, like you're the first one to see all that stuff.
Yeah, I was honestly shocked that to see 84 fans had us as their number one. And sorry, I'm going through it right now. Our show was one of the top 20% video shows on Spotify.
I saw that and I was
Everyone
like,
and their mom starts a podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
everywhere.
Like how many, okay, Alex, this would be a good thing to look up. How many podcasts are on the Spotify platform right now? Like let's just take Spotify because it's running those numbers. How many podcasts runs? So we're 20% of video podcasts just out of every podcast that exists on Spotify. We're in the top 20%.
Correct. This runs data from all of Spotify.
Dude, that is to me, that's wild. I read that and like, that's where my mind went is like, okay, that's every podcast on Spotify. We're in the top 20%. But then I was like, there's no way. So that's legit. Every single podcast that exists on Spotify.
By late 2025, Spotify hosted about 500,000 video podcasts.
Dude. So what is
we were in the top 100,000 out of 500,000.
Yeah, I was about to say that I was going to do a little math, but I'm not the person. I'm going to rely on my calculator if you know what I mean.
We're better than 400,000 other video podcasts.
Yeah, suck it, other 400,000 podcasts. Suck it.
Why?
Nike style.
Why?
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah, because
you want to know why?
That's one of the.
I think it's because, and what we didn't do well at the end of 23 and mid 24 was we weren't consistent in all of our stuff. We started being consistent.
That hiatus.
We were like flip flopping. Like, what are we gonna do this week? I don't know. Let's just wing it. But now, like, we're planning out stuff in advance. We're consistent about what we post, and we try to have like content. Like, I'm posting clips and pictures 2 or 3 times a day as we go every single day. And like, y'all show up, y'all tell your friends about it. Alex has to send a dove because he doesn't get on social media, but we're able to like share it.
Letters are going out to Hogwarts all over the United States. Dude, they are locked in the Harry Potter verse. No, but like so when you hear that, it's like that initial shock value. So like for me, and like I want to go back to that question that we asked earlier. So do y'all see that as motivation going into this next year? Like, wow, what a jump. Do you see that as motivation to try to get the same jump, if not even more, which my competitiveness kind of kicks in a little bit? Or do you think a little bit of like, oh crap, like that puts a little bit of extra pressure on us, I guess? Like, how does that make y'all react to it initially?
I think initial thoughts are that competitive side of like, okay, we had this % growth. Can we at least have that same amount % growth the next year? Because as the audience grows, if you keep having a similar percentage growth, that like is exponential. It's going to explode really quickly. So I think that like slow burn, the consistency, if we can stay consistent with it. And I think having guests on helps a lot too, because then they share it with their audience and, we get a couple people from whatever work it is that they do. So yeah, I think a lot of video podcasts probably don't make it past those first 13 episodes that suck to really figure out like what it is they want to do. I mean, when y'all first had the idea of doing a podcast, this was not at all what it was. So it's got to go through multiple iterations.
Colin,
to a viable
do you remember like bring up some initial thoughts that we had when we wanted to start this podcast? Like what was the direction that we even wanted it to be? Because we wanted to be initially, no offense, Alex, we wanted to be like our close friend group from high school, like all 5 of us, 6, and that's first 13 episodes that we deleted or whatever. Like that was kind of the foundation that we wanted to like roll through. And then now you look at it, it's completely different. We're having different people on from all different realms of whatever they do. And like, they're experts in it. Like, it's not just some kind of Joe Blow type people. Like, it's people that get on here and can tell us to shut up. And I just be like, yes, sir. Sorry about that. It's your podcast now. So like, it's just crazy. Like how, like you said, like your direction changes so fast. Your intentionality can also change with that too. But I feel like that's been the best thing for us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We started this thing with, we wanted those 5 people every week to get on. No, it was like once a month or something. But we would get on to record, and then we'd start talking about who knows what. Somebody else would hop on in their garage, and we'd be like, I can't hear you. So we'd have to stop what we were doing.
Dude,
and then
so bad.
when we finally got everyone's internet figured out, a naked baby would scream across the screen, and then some parent would go grab them by the hair on camera and rip them into the other room.
Yeah.
In
So if
game.
we didn't get
In game.
canceled for that, yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Like right in the
Yeah.
middle of the podcast, it's like, I wonder if CPS is going to watch that episode right there.
Yeah, I'm
So
like,
you go,
and then
uh,
the next week or the next time we do it, we're like, okay, is everybody ready? Yes. All right, logging on. Oh, well, my wife says we have to eat. Oh, we'll have to take my kids. And then I'm like, okay, well, no
Yeah.
one is here. No one's talking. And then I'm stressing because I have this plan for every episode and it never
Yeah.
goes the way I want, but it's okay.
There was zero structure because it was just like I said initially before this, it was just 5 buddies who have been friends forever having kind of an empty conversation. So it just went all over the place. Like what Colin said, there was no structure. Colin's face whenever things are not going the way that he wants it to be planned or structured or organized, it just like it gets lower and lower and just like more and more blank and vague. And it's almost like he's staring directly through your soul. So about 10 minutes into every single episode, you would get that look. And then he would just try to survive through the rest of the episode. And then he'd be like, all right, well, that was fun. Thanks for tuning in. A good time. Like he just sounded like he was hosting the most depressing podcast in the
Just some
world.
times with bad friends. They're not even good.
it was bad times.
But
with
now that
worse situations.
we have organization, we have consistency, and like I told, like and this sounds so silly, and I told someone, I was like, don't start things with "this is dumb" or "this sounds silly" because it's just a bad omen. But like, I want 2026 to be the year of Good Times, Bad Friends, and I'm gonna do what it takes to like set us up for success. And what we're going to do differently this year is we are going to have a plan, and this is hard. We have 3 different households with 3 different families and 3 different lives to try to make weekly episodes for you guys.
Ooh.
This will help in so many ways. One, all the clips that I post throughout the week kind of get watered down as the week goes because I'm trying to make 2 weeks of clip for 1 episode. Now we'll get new, refreshing guests. We'll have them from all over different interests. Like we're all going to be in charge of guests at some point of the month where Alex's interest may be different than Justin's, which may be different than mine. So hopefully there's something for somebody in each episode, and we will have like content that is going nonstop that you can share with your friends. And that's what we want to tell you, that we're investing in this podcast for you guys. We have brand new microphones. We have brand new headsets. We have brand new cameras. I'm getting a brand new podcast studio in the next month or 2.
Dang.
See that you'll see that coming. Like we are investing in it for you guys, and all it takes for you is to be invested, to follow, like, and subscribe. It's free. Rate the podcast. Like do that for us so that we can keep doing things that we like doing, and ultimately having good conversations with y'all. We're learning how to talk to people IRL and get to meet a lot of cool people. Like we're gonna play golf with a guy that we had from Salty Aces. Mason was on here. We were going to go hunting with Jackson. Like we have a lot of cool open dialogue conversations off camera from people that we met here. And it's because y'all listen to our podcast. It's because we have 84 people that make us your top episode. It's because we have 999% audience growth because you actually care about what we're talking about. And I don't get it. I don't know why. Don't know why you do, but I'm thankful you do. And so are these 2 guys, I think.
It's that goatee, dog. No, I will say that, like, sorry, I just had to throw that in there. It's that dadgum facial hair that you guys had. You got freaking Grizzly Adams Jr., and then me, the homeless guy, tries to grow out his long beard. No, we want to make sure that we bring better material, more consistency, everything that we can possibly do to entertain you guys more without reinventing the wheel. So we're not going to try to revert back to segments, or we're not going to try to pull stuff back from the dead or anything like that, unless it's conspiracy camp fire, if we want to do anything like that. It's still open for interpretation.
That's
but
not dead.
it's like adding more stuff. Like if you want us to react to a certain clip, like if it's just going to be like a quick 10-minute episode, like send us a clip of something that's going on. Send us an AI video. Like let's go back to the Helen Keller thing where we almost got canceled for the first time. So like getting just a little bit more involvement, like almost just asking you guys to get a little bit more involved with what we're doing. Because for me, like I think it'd be really cool if I like send a message to somebody that's got a big time podcast and all of a sudden they like name drop you on there, like, hey, thanks for the support or anything like that. Like almost like a super chat, like some of those streamers do anything like that, but not like a real time response, but just getting people more involved. So not only are we going to try to do stuff once a week, try to get in person, because I think for me, that was the biggest realization of, man, conversations are so much easier in person, even if it's just us or anything like that. Or if we get a guest, like it's just more natural. You're not waiting or kind of guessing if anybody's done or scared to cut anybody off or anything like that. Like you can see the nonverbal communication. And like for me, it was just a little bit more smoother. Now, you guys will never know because we had to bury it and we were idiots and it took us 3.5 hours to set it up. And it was a great conversation that got recorded and then promptly deleted or anything like that. But I think that's something that we can start bringing to the table. It's like we can look at ways to make the experience for 80 something people and the 999% and the 130% growth over 2 years. It's like, okay, so how can we take that and just make it better, keep doing the same things, but with better equipment, better placement, be in person, have better guests on, have people from a little bit different realms and stuff like that and different experiences so that we can continue to give you a reason to come back. Like, does that make sense? Like not doing anything new, not trying to trick you out or anything like that, but you know, if there is something new that people want to hear, like we want to hear about it. Like I know we always kind of throw in that little ad lib thing of, you know, like, comment, and subscribe or anything like that. What you think about the episode? But in all reality, like reach out. If you want to be a guest, reach out. We'll bring you on. I think we were so scared at first, kind of something I wanted to go back to, like advice you would give your former self or if somebody started a podcast or anything like that. Like don't be afraid to talk to anybody, but you do have to learn to talk to somebody, whether you know them or not. So it is a skill. It is something that takes practice. But once you do it, you can now broaden your scope a little bit and bring someone in like we may have had before. That's not very good at having conversations. So you have to kind of pull it out of them a little bit or anything like that.
Rough.
And so if you have to do that, you've now refined that skill so much to where you can still turn chicken, you know what, into chicken salad and have a good time. So I think that's where we're going to grow is we're going to try to do more for the people. And I know I make the joke, you know, our solid 9, you know, RIP, baby, we're kind of going up, kind of hitting it big time now. 9 people have started with 9 people in 9 different countries, which that doesn't sound fake at all or AI generated or anything like that. But I think it's now we're looking at the fact of how can we take care of the people that are continuing to support us and help us grow just as much as we're kind of freaking busting our butt to make it happen too.
And if you're still looking for your New Year's resolution, let it be more good times with bad friends.
Justin,
Alex,
close us
you
out.
Dirty dog. Well, yeah, I'll tell you, 2024 rolling. But we had, you know, we were slowing the spokes a little bit, if you know what I mean.
I wrote what you just said.
Okay.
Free Willy
Wait,
over here.
Roading the
really?
spokes was not in this. Yeah.
All right, boys, it's been real. It's been fun. It's always real fun. It's always good times with bad friends. As we close it out, if there was anything that you enjoyed from this episode, once again, like, subscribe, let us know, get involved, continue to create more people that have us as the number one fan. There's 400,000 podcasts that I still want to say that I'm so sorry, but once again, suck it. All right. So, all right, boys, that's it for this episode. And honestly, it felt like a good way to start the year. We say it a lot, but we truly mean it. Thank you to everyone who listens, comments, shares, sends messages. Please continue to send messages. Please get involved. We want to give you a platform just as much as we've created this platform to entertain you guys as much as we possibly can, or just quietly shows up every week. The podcast doesn't exist without the Fab 9, baby. My 9 for 9, baby. Ain't never going to let it go, even if you want a little conspiracy campfire. Hey, 2024 was okay. COVID, am I right? 2025, oof. 2026 is going to look a little different, boys. I'm just letting you know right now. And I'm saying this from the heart. I'm not saying this from a Google Doc. More consistency, some new formats, in-person stuff is going to get rolling. It's going to sound good. We have new gear. We have new opportunities. Okay, we have new ideas. They're going to keep going. I'm ad-libbing even more than you did right there, Colin. And more ways for you to actually be a part of the show. So here's what we like to ask from you going into the best year, the year of Good Times, Bad Friends. If you enjoyed this episode, if you enjoy all of our episodes, go back, listen, get familiar with us, follow the show, and leave a review. It helps us more than you realize. Drop a comment with your thoughts. Send us clips you want us to react to, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it, or maybe someone that doesn't need to hear it, or someone that can't hear it all. Just send it to them. It'd be a funny joke, okay? We're grateful for how far this has come, but we're fired up to see what's ahead. We'll see you next week. Adios and goodbye.